back to make it stick. We're going to jump into Anki. All right, we got 3 flashcards. What do we got? What are the 9 sections and 9 subsections of Chapter 4 Embrace Difficulties? How learning occurs, retrieval. No. How learning occurs, encoding, consolidation, retrieval. Extended learning, updating, retrieval cues. How effort helps. No. Easier isn't better. How effort helps. Broadening mastery, reconsolidating memory, improving versatility, priming the mind for learning, fostering conceptual learning. All right, I need to restart. Reconsolidating memories, creating mental models, broadening mastery, improving versatility, priming the mind for learning, fostering conceptual learning. Other learning strategies that incorporate desirable difficulties. Failure in the myth of errorless learning. An example of generative learning, undesirable difficulties to take away. Boom. What is an illusion of knowing? An illusion of knowing is essentially a misunderstanding of your abilities, thinking that you know something when you really don't. Often stemming from study techniques certain study techniques such as rereading and mass practice. Caused by feelings of familiarity / fluency. False sense of mastery. I don't know, man. Yeah, what I said was fine. I'm just gonna say good. Familiarity, fluency. All right, fine. We'll say bad. What is retrieval practice and why is it superior to passive review? Retrieval practice is act of pulling things out of memory. It's superior to passive review because it shows you what you know and what you don't know, but it also reconsolidates memory and does all that other stuff that we already said. It's more effortful. It leads to more cognitive effort, leads to more learning, and also leads to better understanding of what you know and what you don't know. Strengthens neural pathways, improves long-term retention, unlike passive review, which creates illusions of knowing. All right, good enough. What did we read about yesterday? What did we learn? All right. We learned more about mnemonic devices, just in general, how they have a certain structure that cues you to more memories. So the idea is you use something like a structure that you already are very familiar with, or one that's a lot easier to become familiar with or remember easily than the list of things you're trying to memorize, or the complex thing. I feel like mnemonic devices are really about helping memorize like lists, essentially. Lots of items. So we learned about the pen, called the pen technique. Not the pen, the peg. The peg method. Something along that line, where you memorize this series of things that rhyme with 1 through 20, 1 bun, 2 shoe, etc. And then you peg like visual information or some visual cue to this concrete visual information for the stuff you want to memorize. So you're like, how does a bun relate to the thing I'm trying to remember? How does shoe relate to the thing I'm trying to remember? So it's using this structure that is easily remembered via rhyming in a structure, and then connecting the new things to that rather than some random new structure. All right? I think that's most of the stuff. Sure, you are forgetting some stuff because that's not that much. Where's my pen? There it is. All right. Mnemonics. So, okay, you can also use songs and poems as mnemonic devices. You're already familiar with that structure. Peg method. That's not what I said. I think. Yep. All right, so I'm going to continue reading now, and then I'll be back to recall what I learned today in a little bit. All right, guys, I read a lot today. Read more about, so basically a story of someone taking A-levels in Britain and using the memory palace technique in order to help memorize lots of key points for essays. Then we got into essentially this guy who does memory competitions, his method for memorizing decks of cards and strings of numbers, long strings of numbers, very quickly. It was pretty cool. His method was like each 0 through 9 is like a sound. For example, 0 could be and 1 could be t, etc. And then he strings three sounds together. So whatever his was like sh for 6, the L sound for 5, and the t for 1. So 615 was, for example, a shuttle, and so it was a rocket imagery, and so he could just remember like images. He had 1,000 images memorized for 000 through 999, and so that he could just instantly think of images, and just cue the memories, mnemonic, really, like we were saying. They said, the authors argue, it's like it's not just good for rote memorization, the memory palace that is, and mnemonics. They're great ways to memorize, or not memorize, great ways to organize collections of information you've already learned, great bodies of information you've already learned, so that they're readily retrievable. That's all right. I mean, yeah, I get it. It could come in handy if you needed it. I just haven't ever needed it, really. And the idea of spending time just seems kind of gimmicky to me, to be honest, to just sit there and try to think of visual information. And I guess you can do it quickly. Yeah, you can probably, it doesn't have to be this thing you do. It can literally just be like boom, boom, boom. So in that sense, sure, you can really memorize things fast. It just seems a little gimmicky to me, to be honest. I like I said, college level courses in neuroscience, I think it's the only course I've really had to write essays in. But Neuro 1 and 2, maybe as a teacher, but I don't think I missed any points on essays ever in Neuro 1 or 2. And that's just because I actually read the textbook, paid attention to class, used retrieval, understood the topics. So I don't really think I need, to stick some random image to a concept that I understand. And it kind of seems like a way to get around actually connecting it meaningfully. You're making it an unmeaningful connection. The memory competition stuff's cool. I think that, digit memorization technique is pretty genius, but like, it also meta cognitively, it's pretty stupid. It's like, why are you spending your time doing this? You really couldn't do anything more enjoyable or useful with your time, or high value. So, all right, we're very close to finishing chapter 7 now. We should probably be done tomorrow. So, big strides. That was actually enormous strides today. Holy cow. The fact that I didn't have to take notes, I was able to go through 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6 pages. That's how much I can move through when I don't have to take a bunch of detailed notes. So, yeah, not too bad at all. I mean, that's it for today. I'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.